Hi, everybody. I'm here with Josh Cobleigh, who's going to talk to me about recruiter enablement, and I hope this is useful for you. So, Josh, thank you very much for taking the time to join me. Give us a quick introduction.
Adam, thanks for having me. Appreciate the opportunity. As you mentioned, my name is Josh. I'm based here in Dublin, and I'm working for Aptiv, leading up our global talent enablement initiatives. I've been here for a couple of years, kind of fell into this role. Wasn't planned, but ultimately the need became very apparent last year. So kind of by design, creating the role on the fly and rolled it out here in 2023. So definitely exploring a lot of very interesting topics. And hopefully I can share some insights on, lessons learned and where we're headed.
Yeah, great. It's very, very encouraging to me as somebody that's really fascinated by the concept of what I call recruiter enablement, what inside your business is called talent enablement. I'm coming across more and more people who have got like defined responsibilities in this area. So, what is it to you? What is this? Is there a difference between recruiter enablement and talent enablement, for example? Does it mean the same thing in your organization? And what is it for you?
Yeah, absolutely. No, and that's a great question. And I was thinking about that actually in advance because, in fairness, it's generally the same, at least from my point of view. I think maybe the only difference would be opposed to just the sole focus being on, the recruitment side. I think it's more, about empowering, the organization to hire, better, faster, and smarter. Of course, there's an immense focus on our TA teams, but also, what can we do to enable, our hiring managers, HR business partners, whoever's involved throughout the whole, end-to-end life cycle.
Great. Okay. So talk to us about like what's the objectives for a role like that?
Yeah, and I guess it's the gift and a curse by design. Since ultimately this role is kind of we are kind of evolving it over the last few months and constantly making sure that we are adding most value there. But quite frankly, it kind of boils down to cultivating an environment where clarity and consistency is above all else. So maybe just to give you a flavor of some of the projects or programs that we're leading. So it's of course around the tools and technologies. Injecting the right tools into our TA tech stack. The process optimization, standardizing our end-to-end processes globally. And then also, designing or architecting, for lack of a better term, more agile process into our critical hiring locations so we can scale more efficiently. Of course, the other elements would be enriching our TA teams' knowledge and technique to hone their craft. So we've rolled out e-learning platform dedicated to recruitment. Also, we're about to launch a workshop with some industry experts focused on talent advisory as well.
Excellent. Okay. So when you first started this job, presumably there was a bit of time to go and sort of diagnose what are the main things that need to be done, and it'd be great to understand what were some of the sort of biggest things that you needed to focus on, and what were maybe some of the quick wins.
Yeah, no, and I guess I've had the luxury of, it was over the probably second half of last year, our talent acquisition leadership team, over time, we definitely identified some of the key areas, how we can, level up, the maturity level of talent acquisition, to be able to better support, our business at the end of the day. So, we identified some of the key areas, and other elements that may be more, I guess, relevant, to our organization, is the fact that, we recently moved to more of a centralized model. So, as you can imagine, being decentralized in all the different ways of working previously, added a lot of different challenges there. So in this model, what we identified first and foremost was, the standardization, how we're operating end to end and delivering to our, stakeholders, in a consistent and clear manner was first and foremost. And then also, identifying opportunities to upskill and elevate, our recruiters or TA partners to be able to better, serve, our business, and advise and bring them through the journey opposed to, more the transactional traditional ways of doing it.
Yeah.
So, some of the quicker wins was, of course, documenting, clarifying, our SOP, rolling it out, injecting that, so
Yep.
so it's clear and available for everyone to access. It's at their fingertips. Creating a somewhat customized central repository, that everyone can access. Of course, that's still evolving, but
Yep.
still, just putting the building blocks in place. And like I mentioned, we rolled out the e-learning platform. So on average, all of our recruiters are doing about 45 to about 60 minutes a week, different learning
Excellent.
opportunities on like a social talent platform.
Yep.
And then we have follow-up workshops that, that will allow them to come together, share their lessons learned and how they can, I guess, put it to use moving forward.
Yeah. Great. Okay. So you've mentioned standardization a couple of times, and I believe that recruiters are naturally quite kind of entrepreneurial. And if you don't give them templates and processes and standardize things, then they will go and determine how best to do it themselves. Because
Yep.
recruitment's a sink or swim type of job, right? So if you don't give people, I don't know, like here's the kind of elevator pitch, or here's the crib sheet for what you should say to candidates, or how you should interact with hiring managers, and how we should do things. They'll go and design their own process, and that means that, like, if there's 20 recruiters, there'll be 20 different types of candidate experience, right? So I think is that one of the main goals around the standardization aspect?
Absolutely. And I think it's safe to say, that one alone is paramount, especially, currently, where we're at in our end, because as you can imagine, with all the various cultural nuances and all the different locations our teams sit, there, exactly like I said, there's a lot of varied ways. And without fully defining what good looks like, or to us here at Aptiv, then you're going to have 50 different ways with 50 different recruiters, or, some of course better than others, but still we just need like a centralized theme. We don't want to make it so prescriptive to where it's like almost robotic. We want to still enable everyone to have the ability to be themselves and put their own flair to it, but still hit the core elements along the way, so everyone is working in a consistent fashion at the end.
Yeah, yeah. So what would be your leave us with one big tip? What's your first tip for anybody that's looking at talent enablement?
uh you know just go for it. At the end of the day, you're going to make mistakes. You just got to start somewhere. But at the end of the day, just, the key focus, or your key goal, or silver star or North Star, excuse me, would be at the end of the day, how can you make your recruiter's life easier to be able to deliver, for your hiring managers, which consequently should end result be a better candidate experience. So, it starts with the recruiters, and then everything else, should sequentially happen at the end.
Yeah, that's a great way of thinking about it. Okay. Josh, thanks so much for taking the time to join me today. It's been really useful to hear your perspectives, and all the very best in your future career in this area.
Thanks a lot, Adam. Appreciate it.